Welcome to the first special episode of our 2011 season of What Are You 12? A IDYP production. Thank you everyone for joining us. Please like, rate, subscribe, share us with a friend or two. Follow us on social media at IDYP_podcast on Twitter and Instagram. And with me today, we have my regular co-host, Emily.
Hello, everyone.
And a very special guest with us here today. First time in many, many months, Matt.
Hey, I'm going to go give Shelby water. She needs water.
We just fucking started.
We did just fucking start, and he leaves. He hasn't been here in months, and he's like, guys, I gotta
go. Okay, well, Emily, since you're still here, we watched the Muppets this week.
We did.
Which, phenomenal.
Absolutely.
What's the Muppet version of you look like?
I thought about this for a grand total of maybe 10 seconds. I would be some weird noodly monster, and I'm thinking just like stringy spaghetti everywhere that just like waves my arms all noodle-like, and I would definitely have a bow in my noodle hair to represent that I'm female.
Yeah, a gender identity.
Yeah, right. Just giant eyeballs, and like you wouldn't be able to see the mouth ever, though. Like just noodly arms waving around. That's how I would communicate.
I love it.
Big eyes and noodle arms.
That's good.
Which other Muppet do you feel like you would be best friends with?
Oh, Beaker, for sure.
And which one is that?
Meow.
Okay. Thank you. Better than any words could do.
Matt, what would the Muppet version of you look like?
Oh, man. I think I would have to be one of the big ones, like Big Bird.
Okay, like Big Bird, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking probably just a big tumbling oaf.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody who falls down constantly.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't think I would talk either. My guy would be just a big idiot that everybody felt sorry for.
Okay. So Snuffleupagus.
Yeah. Yes. A Snuffleupagus. I was thinking biped, but I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You caught me off guard, so I need some time to think about it, I feel. But yeah.
What about you, Ben?
Honestly, I would probably be a sloth looking Muppet, like have like the like 3 toes, except I'd also be like the reverse Gonzo, where instead of the nose it's just a dick.
Okay.
You are not invited on Sesame Street.
I'm not allowed within 50 feet of Sesame Street.
Avenue Q, we got your next Muppet for you.
Hey, and we don't know if the other Muppets that are below the waist, if they have that already on them. They might.
I don't know if I like this conversation.
No, okay, let's jump into this movie. This week we did watch The Muppets, which is currently at 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is the first time the Muppets appeared on the big screen in 12 years, since Muppets in Space from 1999. This movie did win an Oscar for Best Original Song for the song Man or Muppet.
We're trying to get the old gang back together again.
We haven't done this in a long time.
Your fans never left you. The world hasn't forgotten.
Sure, it's impossible, but we've got to try.
It's time to play the music.
It's time to light the lights.
It's time to meet the Muppets.
Come on, guys, let's go! Wow, I can't believe we're all back together. Yeah!
Sorry, I was super excited.
This movie is directed by James Bobin. He directed episodes of The Ali G Show and Flight of the Conchords before making his debut with this movie, The Muppets. He was nominated for a BAFTA for Best British Debut by a director, writer, or producer for this movie.
Huh.
Good shit, man. Well done, James.
Starring in this movie is Jason Segel. He also co-wrote the movie. He was one of the freaks on Freaks and Geeks and was also in Undeclared, Knocked Up, I Love You Man, and How I Met Your Mother. He very likely got this writing gig due to his total love and respect for the Muppets and the Puppet Vampire musical that was featured in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Honestly, probably the best part of that movie. And I love that movie. But fuck, that part is so fucking awesome.
Yeah, out of left field, perfect.
I love when he pitches the song to her in the bar. Like that's probably my favorite part, even more than the actual musical. is her like sing the fucking song.
My friend from high school, Brody, when we did like the stupid Valentine songs that people go and pay in singing grams shit, I still remember he sang that song. People purchased that song for him to sing. It was awesome.
That's a good one.
Jesus Christ.
Also starring in this movie is Amy Adams. Her first role was the Minnesota-based Drop Dead Gorgeous, before appearing in Catch Me If You Can, The Office, and Talladega Nights. She blew up after Enchanted came out in 2007 and was nominated for an Oscar for her role in 2010's The Fighter.
Oh my gosh, those are two of our movies we've covered.
Oh, it's weird. It's like I picked that for a reason.
Ooh, shut up.
Synergy, baby.
Last person we'll call out is Chris Cooper. He was a prolific character actor through the 80s and 90s before appearing in October Sky and American Beauty in 1999. He won an Oscar for his role in Adaptation in 2002 and also appeared in Seabiscuit, Jarhead, The Bourne Trilogy, and 2007's The Kingdom.
My God, is that Jason Bourne? Cut to any Muppet.
Which Muppet would play the Jason Bourne character? Let's cast right now.
Ooh.
Like some opposite of Fozzie Bear.
Okay. So the bear in this movie that's like waka waka.
He's not the opposite. He's like I don't know how to describe the opposite of Fozzie Bear, but I was like, what is he not? He's not Fozzie Bear.
Well, what's the opposite of a bear?
A puma. I don't know.
Instead of a comedic bear, it's a dramatic puma.
I love it.
He could be like, who am I? And it's just like, that's like the little stuff pops up overhead and it's Jason Bourne learning about who he is. a little fun child program.
Matt, if you would, let us know what this movie is about straight from the back of the DVD cover.
While on vacation in Los Angeles, Walter, the world's biggest Muppet fan, and his brother Gary and his friend Mary his friend.
It's Walter's friend Mary.
Uncover the diabolical plot of a greedy oil millionaire to destroy the Muppet Theater. Now the Muppet-loving trio must unite Kermit, Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, and their friends to take to the stage the greatest Muppet telethon ever and save their beloved theater.
Did he actually say telethon? I heard him just skip over that word.
Yeah, he skipped a couple words. It's okay. He doesn't do this very often, remember?
Hey, listen, sometimes when you read a word and like all the consonants are gone and it has like all the vowels there and you still understand what's being said.
That's called dyslexia.
Okay.
Matt, I know how I feel about the Muppets and I know how Ben feels about the Muppets. Can you share how you feel about the Muppets?
Jeez Louise. Well, I don't love them and I don't have the Rolodex of all of them in me. However, I will say Rainbow Connection, the song, makes me cry no matter who's singing it. And like after the movie, like I went and watched Jim Henson's like funeral. So
oh God.
Jesus.
I was just like the song is so good and it's just like Kermit and like the banjo. It's wonderful. So like in general, I love the Muppets, but however, I'm not always on board for a full movie. But this one's great. So
this one's great. So you're on board with this one.
Yeah.
My friend Paul sang Rainbow Connection at my wedding. So I also cry. Not because of the wedding, just because it's a fucking dope ass song.
Yeah, absolutely. I was watching the movie and I was like, that should be my go-to karaoke if they have it.
You blubbering mess.
Yeah, just rip that out. Well, I don't think I would cry if I was trying to perform it.
As opposed to Sierra's 1-2 Step, which is currently your go-to karaoke song.
Yeah. Patented dance as well.
That's right.
Ben, how much do you love the Muppets?
I absolutely love the Muppets. I have seen, I think, everything the Muppets have done, including all of the old Muppet shows, even the Muppets Now that's on Disney Plus, and the Muppets TV show that they put on ABC that was like an Office mockumentary type show, which is not my favorite iteration of the Muppets, but it was still watchable. Man, did you guys ever watch Muppet Classic Theater?
Yeah, I loved it.
I wore that VHS out as a kid. Like, I absolutely
Did you really?
love those stories. Yeah.
For those of us that haven't seen it, what is it?
It's as if the Muppets were to do a bunch of like 15-minute stage plays
Okay.
based on classic literature. So it's like the Muppets version of Three Little Pigs, the Muppets version of King Midas.
That's awesome.
I remember the King Midas one very well.
So good. And I think that this version of the Muppets, though, this 2011 movie, is my favorite version of the Muppets. I absolutely adore this movie. I remember when I was working at the movie theater in 2011, I convinced all of these high school kids to come do an employee showing of it, because the only way that they would do a showing of it for us employees ahead of time on Wednesdays before it came out was if they got like 15 to 20 people to come to it. I got 50 kids who some of them had never heard of the Muppets before, packed into that theater, and they fucking loved it.
Well, obviously.
It was not easy for me to get kids there because the last movie I got them really excited for was The Smurfs, and I felt like I had burned every bridge because I was talking up how great The Smurfs was going to be, and I dressed up as a Smurf for the showing.
You blew yourself.
And they did not like that one as much. We still had a good time with it, but they all came back for the Muppets, and every single person in the audience just fell in love with it.
Good. I don't remember actually watching this movie for the first time. I just remember my sister Renee was obsessed with it, and I think I was at that point in my life where I was just getting into college, and so I wasn't actually going out to see movies. But I have such fond memories after I did watch it of singing the songs while we were driving up to Duluth for Thanksgiving or for Christmas, because she and I both lived in the Twin Cities, and it was really a bonding experience. And so we would harmonize and sing to Man or Muppet at the top of our lungs in the most dramatic Muppet way possible. So, I mean, how could you not fall in love with this movie? It has a lot of charm right from the get-go. It gives a nice reset of the Muppets for younger audiences and audiences that also have never seen them before, which are also younger audiences. But I'm not like you, Ben. I love the Muppets, but I have not seen everything. And I think it's because I go back to my old favorites. So this was a big step for me to watch this new movie back when I was in college.
What are those old favorites of yours then?
Oh, it's definitely the original Muppet movie, Muppet Treasure Island. I've watched probably 1,000,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
And the Muppet Christmas Carol, Fraggle Rock, Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, and also just The Storyteller. The Storyteller is probably by far one of my favorite shows.
So even beyond just the normal like Muppets that we talk about, you're talking about the whole Jim Henson catalog.
Yeah.
That was your go-to.
Because I like weird shit, I guess.
You definitely do. Well, you like fantasy, and that's kind of what Jim Henson specialized in.
Right. But this movie does give you that feeling of the original Muppets show, which is really fun. And I think that growing up watching that with my family and growing up seeing the Muppets, it really made me incredibly emotional this watch. Like, I think I've always been emotional watching this movie, but I fucking teared up hardcore in quite a few spots this watch, and I don't know why.
I had the same experience with this watch. I think a lot of it has to do with just nostalgia and being transported back to being a kid and watching things like Muppets Take Manhattan, where I rewind and watch that Muppet Babies scene over and over again as a kid because it just made me so happy. And I remember those feelings of happiness, and this movie transports me there. You're right, Emily. This movie does a great job of being an introduction to the Muppets, but also being that nostalgia piece for people who have loved the Muppets forever. And I think that's what makes this movie as successful as it is that no matter what your entry point is, even if you haven't had one, this movie holds up.
Absolutely. I think this movie does a really great job. At the beginning, like, I remember being annoyed at a few scenes where I'm like, how can Jason Segel's character be so dumb about, like bringing Walter to on his honeymoon, right? But even if you don't like a scene, the way they get out of scenes was always just brilliant. It's like a master class. So, you have Amy Adams like staring out of a window, thinking and dreaming, and it's like raining. And then you pan out and you see a gardener like spraying the window. And then it's like every transition is perfect.
It's the perfect throwback to those classic misdirections of the Muppet Show. When it was like, it completely subverts your expectations where you're like, oh, that was not what I was expecting. And that's hilarious.
Right. And, like I was saying earlier, like I'm not on board with everything, but like it always win you right back. Like, like let's pretend you're a grump and you didn't like the joke maniacal laugh. And they're gonna hit that hammer and they're gonna draw on that well all night, But it's still fun because it's like it doesn't ruin an experience for me, at least. So
that maniacal laugh piece, I don't know if you guys know this, in the extended scene of his song, he explains why he hates the Muppets. And it's because when he was 10 years old at his birthday party, they had the Muppet Show on and all the children were laughing. And because he's incapable of laughing, only saying maniacal laugh, all the kids made fun of him. And he blamed the Muppets for that.
Okay.
Give me this ridiculous backstory.
God, why would they cut that out? Like,
you don't need that shit.
It's so funny.
In an early version of the ending, Tex Richmond was actually Kermit in disguise. And he was actually trying to come up with a plan to get all the Muppets back together. So he created this Tex Richmond character and this oil tycoon idea to try to get the ball rolling for getting the group back together.
Okay, honestly though, that makes way more sense how he exists as like this ridiculous over the top evil bad guy. He's just a puppet.
And I think the casting of Chris Cooper in that role, who is this guy who's known for serious, dramatic stuff, I think it's brilliant because all of a sudden, that first time he does the maniacal laugh, you're taken aback a little bit by like, oh my God, this is so ridiculously silly. And then the part later where he breaks out into rap and then immediately like at the end of the song breaks back and he's like, it's a no for me. Just such good acting on his part. And there are so many great little cameos in this movie too.
Holy shit, yes. Can you say your favorite right now, or is that going to be later?
No, let's do that now.
I'm ready. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's definitely Ken Jeong with the punch teacher. Punch teacher, Ken Jeong. I was like, oh my fucking God, what is
that punch teacher bit has one of my favorite lines in the movie, and it's cutting away from punch teacher. Yes. And he's like, I just thought I could make a difference.
I caught that this time and I laughed so hard.
So good.
I think just because of how it happens, I think it's Donald Glover, just because he smashes Kermit into the wall with the door. I mean, I think it's also great to have him in there, but I just freaking love that where Kermit just always gets beat up.
I think my favorite has to be Dave Grohl as like the animal Muppet. He plays the drummer, the human drummer in the Muppets. Dave Grohl was a famous drummer for Nirvana.
Oh.
I just think it's really funny that they have like a human like wearing like the animal cowl of hair. And that's part of the Muppets. So
I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't know who that was.
I think we're ready to actually dissect this movie and critique it a little bit. And I don't know how harsh our critiques are going to be because it sounds like the three of us loved it, but let's dive into something.
We need to talk about the Pictures song.
Okay.
I distinctly have no memory of this song. And it's a song where Kermit's like, you know what? I'm going to flash back and look at all of my friends in these portraits and they come to life for a minute. And it has like a sad sappiness to it, but then kind of like a hopeful part to it. But I don't fucking remember this being in the movie. And maybe it's because Life's a Happy Song and Man or Muppet and Amy Adams, a Me Party, like these are like more upbeat and fun, and so that I really focused more on those. But I don't know, it just didn't feel all that spectacular to me this time watching it. I'm sorry, Ben. I know you love it.
Yeah, this does hurt me deeply that you say that because
cut you in the face.
I was ready to come on this podcast and say that that's my favorite song in the movie.
Why? Please tell me.
I feel like it does a great job of emotional lifting of this story. It provides the emotional backbone for what we're about to see. It's about this guy longing for the days past, and the writing of the words is very creative. Like it introduces you to all these Muppet characters that maybe if you haven't met before, here's who they are and what they did. And I don't know. I just find myself getting caught up in that and thinking about, let's get the gang back together. Even when we talk about our podcast, like I long for the days when it was the four of us doing it. And that song somehow reminds me of that and makes me think like, yeah, let's get the gang back together. Let's do this again. Let's do one more time.
You got to come up with your oil scheme.
It was Ben all the time.
Yeah. You have to become Chris Cooper.
That song, though, I can see why you don't like it, and I accept that. It's also one of the songs that's not written by Brett McKenzie from Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense why I hate it.
Like the four major ones that you know of, Life's a Happy Song, Me Party, Let's Talk About Me, which is the Chris Cooper rap, and Man or Muppet, all four of those were written by Brett McKenzie.
That makes so much sense.
And they have that lyrical comedicness and charm that Flight of the Conchords had. And I just thought it was a great decision to have him even do that for this movie. Like, I know they brought in James Bobin to direct after Brett McKenzie was already attached to do the songs, but the combination of those two is just so smart. And I genuinely love every song in this movie.
Yeah.
Is there any song that you don't like, Emily, other than Pictures in My Head?
Nope.
Matt?
I didn't care for the rap, but I need to go back because, like, I'm sorry, Ben.
I mean, it threw me off. I will say the rap threw me off, but just with the context of what was happening, it was hilarious and really expertly done. The lyrics, everything. So I can't say anything bad about it.
And it was. So I think it was me. I think my viewing was on me this time. It was just like I went in as a grump, but I still had a really good time. So I think that kind of says like.
So you're the one
movie.
that didn't like maniacal laugh, maniacal laugh, maniacal laugh?
It's possible. I'm not going to say.
Oh my God, I hate you. I hate you so much. It's so funny.
It's possible.
You know what else we need to talk about?
Yeah.
There are no GIFs of this movie.
What?
I was on my phone trying to text my sister. There are like 3 GIFs of this movie. And that's it. And it drives you fucking bonkers because this movie, what we really need to talk about is this movie is so quotable and it has so many hilarious little snapshots and moments. Like, why aren't there more GIFs in like our phones already? To go because like maniacal laugh isn't in there. We've got all sorts of really funny physical comedy with the Muppets that just isn't there.
Yeah, if it is out there, somebody needs to catalog it and tag it for SEO so Emily can easily search Muppet 2011 GIFs.
Yes,
because I just searched it and it seems like it's out there, but it would take like some sort of expert to bring all these things together into a library and then published.
There's so many jokes packed into this script.
Yes, that's what I mean.
I wonder if it's just like it's impossible to pick one. Like something I read, actually, it was something I watched. I was watching This Guy Edits because after we talked about Margaret, I kind of got hooked on his videos, and he was talking about how to edit a comedy. And he said that comedies are usually better remembered if there's 5 really, really big A+ jokes rather than 100 B jokes. And I feel like that's true of this movie, where this movie has so many really, really good jokes, but there aren't any like huge laugh out loud setups or jokes within the movie.
Yeah, I can see that. I still love them.
Oh, I do too.
That's an interesting point. This guy edits. Does he do YouTube videos?
Yep, it's a YouTube video series.
That's an interesting point. I think that definitely reads for sure. Because I can't remember a single joke, but I remember it being very impressed throughout.
And I love this script, and that's what I want to talk about. There's so much joy in this script, and it has this true understanding of who these characters are and how a Muppet story should be told. Like, it's the perfect amount of nostalgia and reverence, and I absolutely love it. I love the fourth wall breaking that constantly shows up, where Kermit's like, "Nah, I don't want to get the gang back together," and Amy Adams like, "This is going to be a really short movie." Hilarious. Right? When the robot's like, "Let's pick the rest up in a montage," like, perfect. Let's do that. I also love all of the Muppet gags. Like, Muppet Man is one of my favorite scenes in this movie.
So stupid.
So stupid, but so funny. And then my favorite two lines that I feel don't get the love that they deserve. It's Alan Arkin giving the tour of the studio. And he says, "This used to be Kermit's office. It's really the highlight of the tour. You should check it out sometime." And then there's the scene where it's just after the montage of getting the gang back together, and Ralph, who is my favorite Muppet, he says, why didn't you show mine? I feel like mine was really interesting." And then they cut to him and he's in a hammock. And they're like, you want to come? Yeah, you want to get back together? And he's like, "Yeah, okay." And then they cut back to him and he goes, "Oh, classic." Just so simple, but so brilliant. I love this script. Well done, Jason Segel and Nick Stoller.
Writing's hard, man. That's my contribution.
That's your addition. Thank you.
Yeah, the writing's hard, dude. Congratulations.
Anne Hathaway was considered for the role of Mary. Thank God that didn't happen.
Wow, Caddy. Anne Hathaway listens to this podcast. Oh my God.
No. We need to talk about Amy Adams because she is fucking delightful.
Yeah, she did real good.
I feel like her and Jason Segel both understood the assignment. Like, they both are just playing
they did, yeah.
This perfect, like, naivety, but also, like, wholesome and kind, and it just fits perfectly along the Muppets. They could have been Muppets, except they just happen to be human beings.
Right.
That's what the whole movie's about, right?
Absolutely.
Everyone can be a Muppet.
Like, I love that setup. I mean, because they don't do that in the other Muppets, where it's like, man, Muppet brothers. Like, it's typically like one adult, and then they're just surrounded by Muppets. And speaking of which, that's something we need to talk about.
We need to talk about their parentage.
Yes. I was going to say something different. You said something good, and we were laughing at the same time. So you go ahead.
No, we do not need to talk about their parentage. I just thought it was fun. That's what I thought you were going
adopted,
into.
Right?
No, they're twins.
They're not twins.
Oh, that's the most far-fetched thing in this movie. It's that these two fictional characters can't be twins. No, I mean, I don't know. It's probably adopted. But okay, I was gonna say, are you guys familiar with that? I think somebody said it on Twitter. It's like, take a movie, replace every character except for one with all Muppets. That's my favorite.
I mean, that's how it got back to Rian Johnson, that they should make a Knives Out with all Muppets except for Benoit Blanc.
That would be so good.
So cool. I love that idea.
I can't wait for that next iteration of Muppets to like present itself in, like this, TikTok era age of like content.
What do you think that would look like?
I don't know if I want that.
And I'm not saying they do TikToks. I'm just saying like a Muppet Knives Out Netflix. Like, I think that would be neat. Obviously, Disney owns it, but like, I think it would just be cool to see them in something that's like an adult sort of thing. I don't know. Probably a dumb idea.
It's not at all. They already did it. They've got Muppet Christmas Carol and Muppet Treasure Island. Like, there's
okay, but
that
like,
exists already.
It's still like bona fide. I feel like a murder mystery is.
Oh, you mean you want them to play it completely straight as a murder mystery just with Muppets? No Muppet jokes or anything?
Just something very dark.
Well, they have come out with movies and shows. There's this show called Happy, I think, and there's a puppet in it, and it's like this dark, gritty thing.
Happy?
I've only seen a little bit of it, but it was pretty funny. And then there's also a movie which honestly is garbage, but I had a great time with it. Melissa McCarthy's in it.
Happy Time Murders?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. With the puppet Private Eye.
Yes.
Who like sprays cum all over his office.
Yeah, it was really gross.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I did not. That was not a good use of puppet Muppets. I was not a fan of that one.
Or maybe it wasn't a puppet in Happy. I thought it was a puppet, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's animated.
I just looked it up. I think it's like a imaginary friend animated thing.
Yeah. Sorry, I lied. But
It'd
it's
be
also
cool,
good.
like, to see what if we had like girls with Muppets, you know?
So Muppet Allison Williams getting her ass eaten out? Is that what we're talking about?
Take it from a 10 to a 9, and yes. Okay, just go up
Sometimes
to the edge.
the references you two throw out, I just don't even know, and I feel really.
Have
like
you seen Girls? You haven't seen Girls, Emily?
No.
It was an HBO show, and it's just about like 4 girls in New York City, and they like have careers and have sex and talk about it, and it's empowering. It's good. It's funny.
So not Sex in the City. It's good.
Yeah, it's like Sex. It's like Sex in the City, but younger, and more modern.
And it's got Adam Driver, so you know it's good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Adam Driver doesn't do anything bad.
And it might not hold up. I haven't actually watched it in a very long time.
I want to see Adam Driver in a Muppet movie.
Yeah, you know what? Adam Driver in a Muppet movie would just fucking slay.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What's his relationship? Is he a teacher? Is he a father or brother?
He is every single character.
I mean, I think he's every single. So it's like an Eddie Murphy movie with Adam Driver as every character, and then Muppets.
Yes, but he would also play each Muppet. Like he would actually do the voice for each one.
I think he'd play the typical Adam Driver character. He'd play like a married like playwright, like he does in every other movie he's in. Right?
So you're talking,
and then the Muppets would be like figments of his imagination until they became real.
He's like banging on the wall about his marriage.
Yes.
Okay.
Matt, I want to talk to you about this stuff because every Muppet movie has shots that make me go like, how the hell did they do that?
Sure.
And this movie's got a couple. I read how they did all of the Muppets in the car with the human characters, which is basically to make them all fit. They had Amy Adams and Jason Segel doing the Muppets that were next to them, which makes sense. But
nice.
The 2 shots I want to talk about are Miss Piggy walking away in the wide shot in Paris. Do you know what I'm talking about?
So you're basically seeing a Muppet's legs move and arms move.
Yeah, and like physically walk away in a wide shot in a crowded like restaurant.
Yeah, that was probably CGI.
Okay.
It's probably CGI.
Then here's my favorite shot of the movie, and I want to know how it's done. It's the overhead shot of Walter with his image showing up in all the mirrors that are circled around him.
Oh, during the song?
During the song Manor Muppet.
Let me go look it up. I'd have to see it, but it sounds like CGI again.
They specifically said that they didn't use CGI because that's not in the Muppet spirit.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that they talked about that they tried to use, like battery and practical effects.
Okay. It's probably battery powered then is how they did it, because he's not doing much then, he's just singing and looking up, so.
My problem was the math of it as they were starting to call, and it had like 25 where it started off, and I was like, that's a reasonable donation amount, and then it started like going up, but then when they accidentally hit it, it said 99,999.99, so that was 25 cents someone donated, and I'm like, can't get that out of my head.
Probably.
Okay, all right. My problem with it is at the very beginning, Amy Adams is teaching a class where she's repairing a car. She starts the car in a closed classroom. So all of her kids have carbon monoxide poisoning and they all die. One would assume.
They're fine. The windows are open.
That's my problem with it.
I'm a teacher. I approve that.
I mean, what the place they live is called. It's called Small Town, right?
Yeah, that's where that kind of stuff happens.
It's clearly a mining town. They've all got some sort of respiratory disease already anyway.
Might as well kill them earlier.
That's right.
Yeah.
Put 'em out of
You
their
don't want
misery.
a life in the mines.
Okay, my problem is they're allowed to do this telethon because there's a programming hole on CDE after Punch Teacher gets canceled.
Mhm.
Oh, right.
But then the telethon airs at midnight on the West Coast. Like, what is this programming hole, and why are they in need of programming from like 1 to 2 a.m. on the East Coast? Like, I don't get it. Right? Like, that's a major problem.
Sure.
I can suspend disbelief, but come on. Before we wrap this up, I'm going to talk about the credits, because this is something that I actually swept during the credits for. And I love the credits for this movie. It starts with the Menomina song, and all the cameo actors singing it with the Muppets.
And additional cameos.
Of people who had gotten cut from the movie that were supposed to be in it, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that's fun. And then in addition to that, it plays through the songs from the movie. And I love all the songs. It's very toe-tapping. I remember dancing through the aisles as I swept popcorn. It was just great fun. And this is probably an 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 when it comes to sweeping popcorn songs. Like, I love the Muppets. This was for me. I could have swept in this theater all day.
Did you look up at those credits and see Muppet key grip, and you're like, my dream job to assist the Muppeteers
to grip the key.
I watched all the credits too, and I was amazed at it, because like I watched the movie, right? But then like I literally perked up and I watched the credits like this, and I was like searching for like where I might be able to get a job and be like, that'd be my tiny position inside there, second unit, like AC, or like second AC. And I was like, that's cool, just seeing sort of how people fill in there. So,
well, let's give our final thoughts on this movie, and we're going to start with Emily.
This movie reignited a love and passion for the Muppets back when I was in my early college years. It provided just an incredible amount of nostalgia, but also just brought in a new love for it, I think. And I could sit and watch this movie anytime. I love it. It's great. And if you don't like it, fuck you.
It was so heartfelt until.
Well, I just want to reiterate that fuck you, because
wow.
if you're a person who doesn't like this movie, I don't think I can be friends with you.
Oof.
I think of Wesley, who hates musicals, and I don't know if he's seen this movie, but if he's seen this and still doesn't like it just because it's a musical, it's over. Well, like, we're done.
Oh my god!
So I need to, because this movie is my childhood. This movie is my parenthood. Like, I got my daughter into the Muppets. She loves it as much as I do. This movie's great, and it probably will never be surpassed again by another Muppet thing, but I have this one, and I'll watch this until the day I die.
Never say never. Muppets Knives Out, right?
I'll watch everything they make, but I don't know if it'll top this.
Yeah, I feel the same as you guys, except a little healthier about it, I feel. You know, like, it's okay if you don't like the movie. It's got definitely a lot of, like, it's not perfect, but it's like, you know, it's like a friend. It's like a hug. It's like your childhood, you know, and I think it does that for a lot of people in that 45 to 20 age gap, you know. There's been a lot of movies that have came out, and it's a great movie. So,
you know, that reverse age gap that runs 45 to 20.
I know that. I'm glad you saw my face
wow.
too.
Oh my god, I don't work with age gap groups all the time. I don't know how one does that.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please like, rate, subscribe, share us with a friend or two. You can follow us on social media at IDYP_podcast on Twitter and Instagram, or you can email us at idrinkyourpodcast@gmail.com. Join us again next week for our regularly scheduled programming.
Life's a happy song.
Mana.
I'm having a bee party.
Bye.
Bye.
Like, that was the end, right?